Thanks for joining me again here on Ready Set Test for another one of my so-called quick videos where I drone on and make it a little bit more longer. But I've written down some talking points, so I'll stick to it. This video is roughly about one of these, the DJI Phantom 3 Advanced as I have it, but there are other products, the 4K and now the DJI Phantom 4. One thing the DJI does, if you don't know this already, that in order to fly it, you have to provide your own device to see where you're going and to get all the telemetry. And DJI recommends Apple products above all to be the best use for them. I don't think I disagree with them. That is the true case. So if you have an Apple device, or if you're planning on buying an Apple device to use with one of these, then you're okay. You just have to pick up the Apple device and the hardware will be recommended for this device anyway. But what if you don't own an Apple device, just like me, and you don't want to splash out a lot of money on an Apple device just after buying one of these things? They are quite expensive. So your other choice is Android. Now when it comes to the Android market, things are a little bit more confusing because you have a lot of manufacturers producing a lot of devices up and down the price and the hardware capacity range. And depending on what you have, you might face some problems. So did a lot of people on forum. I checked, when I got my Phantom, I checked quite a lot about what kind of Android device I would like to get for this. And a lot of people were having problems. The main bone of contention was the DJI Go app. It seemed to crash on a lot of devices. And then when they did install it, it started to lag and give them all kinds of performance problems. Luckily enough, I already had a phone that I used every single day and that I still use. In fact, it's the phone that is making this video right now, the LG G3. Now this is not an endorsement of LG G3 whatsoever. As the title of the video goes, we're looking for a best Android device, budget Android device to use with the DJI Phantom. So I'll be talking about the hardware combination, but I'll be using the G3 as an example. I'm not saying that it has to be this, but I'm saying that if you want to replicate the result, it has to be the same hardware package. Now what's the hardware package that we are looking at? Mobile phones, mainly when you talk about performance hardware, it's a triangle. The GPU, the CPU, and the RAM, right? It's basically the same as computers were. This phone, the LG G3, has a CPU of 2.46 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon. It's a quad-core processor. The GPU is an Adreno 330, and the RAM is 2 GB. I'll put that down at the bottom of the screen if you want to remember these numbers, which you would want to if you want to buy a good Android device for your DJI Phantom. With that, I have found that the performance is very reasonable and very acceptable. Now I'm using words like reasonable and acceptable because I don't want to say it's absolutely phenomenal, because it isn't. But for what this phone is, and most importantly for what it is worth, the performance is very good. Let's go to the worth part. You can get yourself one of these phones, an LG G3 or a comparable hardware phone used, because these phones have now been out for about 2 years, for around $100 to $120. In the case of this LG G3, this is a 16 GB memory phone which has a 2 GB RAM. Now I know that for another $30 or $40 you can get an LG G3 with 32 GB of internal memory, which also comes with a 3 GB of RAM. So you get more bonus on your random access memory. Lag. There is lag when you're flying your DJI Phantom with this device, as you will see in the video that I captured directly from the screen of my phone. So you'll be seeing what I saw in that video. Lag is present. I don't think you can eliminate lag completely even on an Apple device. But is it manageable? And the answer is yes, as I will explain in the video later. As far as the DJI Go app goes on this phone, the Android version here is 5. It hasn't had an update now for about 7 months. The app has been absolutely stable. Never had any problem with battery drainage. Never had any problem with crashing. Nothing has happened. I've had more than 50 flights on this device so far, and the Go app has not crashed a single time. That's the point that I want to stress on. Now I've already talked about prices, and since I said that it is not just an endorsement for this phone, in the very same price range you can find a lot of other different phones. If you go another $20 or $30 up, you can find yourself an Xperia Z3, a Sony Xperia Z3, a smartphone, and that actually has a gigabyte of RAM extra. So you have a lot of choices in that department. Now you might be wondering, why am I not talking about tablets? A lot of people seem to get really interested in tablets when they get one of the DJIs. Why wouldn't I recommend a tablet? Two reasons for this. Reason number one, tablets are almost household devices. These things stay longer at homes than a mobile phone contract because they are bought with hard cash. That means people hold on to them longer, which means if you're looking for a used device, best of luck waiting for the prices to come down. Reason number two, tablets are cumbersome. It's the logistics that's the problem. When you get a device like a DJI Phantom, you want to take it with you to different places, see a great amount of scenery, shoot your footage the way you want to. And footage, great footage, doesn't come pre-planned. It just happens and you have to get out and do it. That means carrying an extra tablet with you. Traveling with DJI Phantom is already a difficult deal, especially when you're taking it in an aeroplane. Imagine taking a tablet with you, and then once you're out there, setting up that tablet, especially if you're moving around, if you're climbing up a mountain, or if you're shooting something action. Tablets do fall off the cradle, and that makes it a bit of a cumbersome affair. Having a phone in your pocket that you know can work with the DJI Phantom, as this one does, just sticking it on the cradle and taking a shot straight away, now that's ease of use. So my two reasons why I wouldn't recommend a tablet. But if you have a great tablet already, then there's nothing stopping you from using it. Now, why would you buy a dedicated phone for a DJI Phantom? There are advantages to it. See, this phone right now, which I use my Phantom with, is full of apps. The memory is nearly full. I'm making videos on this. I even use video editing software on this thing. And yet it performs well. But imagine if you bought one of these used, fairly cheap, and wiped off all the unnecessary garbage that comes in these phones as on the name of UI or user interface, and dedicated completely to your DJI Phantom, then imagine how well it will perform. Now, talking of performance, let me take you to this short video that I took outside. It is a screen capture of my phone, so what you see in here will be what I see on my phone. And I've gone through two flight disciplines, fast and slow, as DJI Phantom is meant to fly. Check out this footage and see for yourself. As you can see for the first part of the video, I'm trying to fly this device quite fast, or at least as fast as I can at this moment, because my propulsion has been limited due to the battery level being less than 50%. But still, I am trying to make quite erratic movements with this device. As you can see, sudden yaw, very fast 360-degree yaw, and just general almost racing drone flying. Now, point to be noted, the DJI Phantom is not supposed to or meant to be flown like this. As I said before, it is an aerial imaging device where you fly gently and concentrate on the topic that you are trying to shoot, which is what we are going to do now. Now at this point, I have slowed down, gained altitude, and now we're going to go for a more cinematic look. This is where you would like to record your shots and take the footage that you're going for. As you can see, the sweeps are quite gentle. The performance is still very good, acceptable in my opinion, although some of you would think it still has a lot of lag. But with this kind of performance, I have never had a problem shooting any scene or scenario that I needed to at any point of the day. Although there is one thing I must say though, my camera does look overexposed at certain times. I'm sure I have neglected a setting over there. If any of you have an idea of how to correct it, please say that in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. What did you think about this video? It's not very bad, is it, considering the price of the phone? As I said before, the title of the video suggests that we need to get the budget and the triangle of hardware right for an Android phone that will work with the DJI Phantom. And I think in this case, it's a fairly acceptable result. Not perfect by any means. I'm sure some Apple device users right now are laughing their heads off. They think that footage was comical, too much lag. But bear in mind, an Apple device will cost 4 to 5 times as much. And remember, budget is in the title of the video. Now, to overimpose my point, just to show you how this hardware on this phone or any comparable phone would work, I am editing this whole sequence of videos on the phone itself through the PowerLink Director software, watermark of which you will see on the side of the video. And that's just to prove that this phone is so capable. Remember, it's my everyday phone and it is fully loaded, yet it can do all this. I mean, I cannot say any more than that. Thanks very much for joining me on this video once again, and as I always say, if you find it useful and helpful, like and subscribe. If not, what's the point? And I will see you on another one of my videos. Till then, take care.